You think you know what a narcissist is. Maybe you picture your self-absorbed boss, the loud neighbor who can't stop talking about his new car, or your Instagram-obsessed cousin. Throw those images in the trash. Let's get crystal clear today. We are not talking about vanity. We're not talking about someone who just wants the window seat or the biggest slice of cake. No, sir. What I want you to do right now is wipe the slate clean, because we are pulling back the curtain on a genuine predator. What happens when you mix a bottomless need for admiration with the cold, dead heart of a psychopath? You don't get a snob, you get something far more dangerous, a malignant narcissist. This isn't a personality flaw we're discussing. This isn't about being hard to get along with at the Christmas party. No, this is a public safety issue. Let me say that again. Public safety. A malignant narcissist isn't just self-absorbed. They are a human black hole of destruction orbiting through lives, leaving nothing but chaos and devastation behind. Their internal world, it's not just about them. It's about their deep, sadistic pleasure in destroying you. And today we are going to crawl inside their mind. Listen, this is not a comfortable place. It's dark. It's twisted. You better brace yourself. Okay, let's lay some groundwork here. Maybe you've heard the experts talk about the dark triad. Sounds ominous, doesn't it? Picture this triangle, sharp, cold, dangerous at every angle. On one corner, you've got narcissism. That's your classic arrogance, the entitlement, I am the center of the universe mentality. You know the type. They walk into a room and want applause just for showing up. Now swing to the next corner, Machiavellianism. This is strategy, manipulation, calculation. We're talking about someone who doesn't play checkers, they play chess. And let me tell you something about chess. If you don't know you're in the game, you're already a pawn. The ends justify the means is their anthem, and they are moving the pieces with no regard for whose life gets tipped off the board. And then there's the last corner, psychopathy. Cold-hearted, no empathy, no remorse. Cruelty is not a bug in their system. It's a feature. They can look you dead in the eyes while you beg for mercy and feel nothing. Not a twinge, just that cold, sharp gaze. These traits alone are toxic. But what happens when all three, all that arrogance, tactical manipulation, and utter lack of empathy, fuse into one person? You don't just have a difficult personality. No, you have a monster. And make no mistake, they walk among us. Let me draw a hard line. A classic narcissist wants to win. Simple as that. They want the trophy, to look better than you, to have more Instagram followers, a shinier car, a fancier title. It's about winning, standing out, being envied. Annoying, absolutely. Dangerous.
Not always.
But a malignant narcissist. Winning isn't enough for them. Here's the scary part. They don't just want to beat you at the game. They want to burn the entire stadium down with you locked inside and then stand on the ashes claiming to be the victim. Let that sink in. They don't want you to lose. They want you annihilated, obliterated. And then they want everyone else to believe that somehow they were the ones wronged. You might be shaking your head thinking, who does that? Truth is, there are more out there than you'd like to believe. So I want you to think back, really, honestly. Have you ever known someone whose cruelty didn't seem like an accident or a one-off? Someone who seemed to take real pleasure in other people's pain or humiliation? Someone who could start chaos where there was peace and genuinely enjoyed it? Let's make this a real conversation. Drop a comment, don't name names. We're not here for drama. I want to know, what did that feel like? Did you feel like the target in a sport you didn't agree to play? That's not normal. That's not strong personality or tough love. That's predation, plain and simple. And unless we drag this behavior out of the shadows, it'll keep growing. So tell your story, help shine a light. What drives someone to become this way? What fuels this monster? Let me tell you, the fuel isn't just applause. It's not just winning or being admired. No, their engine runs on something far darker. They get their energy, their oxygen from your fear, your pain, your chaos. When you're scared, rattled, torn apart, and confused, that's the high. It's not just about needing to be loved or admired. It's about craving your suffering, your devastation. And that's where we're headed next, because to understand a malignant narcissist, you've got to know what really keeps them alive inside. It's not just attention, it's the chaos they create in you. So you take a moment, think about who might be pulling your strings, sowing drama, feeding on your fear. Stay with me because we're just getting started. Well, hey, you might have thought that deep down everybody wants a little peace, a warm home at night, a touch of harmony in their family. Maybe a little sitcom laughter after dinner. I wish that were true. But let me tell you, with a malignant narcissist, peace is not on the menu. No, to them, peace is boring. Stability, that's a threat. Harmony, what is that? A foreign language. They don't speak it. Malignant narcissists are emotional arsonists. If there's a moment of quiet, a brief flicker of calm, they'll set it on fire just to watch it burn. I'm telling you, they need to ignite emotional chaos everywhere they go just to feel alive. There's something inside them, this gnawing emptiness, that only feels filled when they're standing over the ashes of another happy moment they themselves set ablaze. That's real. That's what you need to be on alert for. Now let me break down why they thrive on this drama. It's not just that they crave attention. No, they crave domination. They need proof that they're not just present in your life, but controlling it. How do they get that proof? By making you anxious, by making you afraid, by making you question your sanity. You ever found yourself pacing the living room, replaying their words in your head, wondering if you're the problem? That's not an accident. That is their classic move, your emotional turmoil, your confusion, your panic. Your flip-flopping between anger and guilt is the fix they're looking for. Every tear you cry, every knot in your stomach, every moment you doubt yourself is gas in their tank. The more unstable you feel, the more stable they feel. That's a bitter pill to swallow, but it's the truth. Let's get even more honest from their side of the table. Cruelty isn't just a tactic, it's a rush. The core thought in their mind is simple and primal. If I can make you cry, I'm powerful. If I can make you scream, I own your emotions. If I can ruin your birthday, your graduation, your promotion, I am in control. That's what gives them an adrenaline rush. There's a sick, electric buzz that shoots through them each time they break you down. Let's use a movie analogy because you all know I love those. A regular narcissist, they want to be the star, all eyes on them, applause, camera flashes, maybe an Oscar at the end. But a malignant narcissist, different story. They want to be the monster in a horror film they wrote, directed, and star in. Your screams, your fear, your heartbreak. That's the soundtrack they play on a loop in their head. They don't want you to admire them. They want you to be afraid, confused, and devastated, because that's when they feel most alive. Now think about this in your own life. Have you ever had someone pick a fight before every vacation you planned? Start an argument right before a big family event, leaving you feeling like you're walking into a war zone instead of a celebration? Ever had your big success at work get sabotaged by a sudden crisis, some emergency they crafted just to drag you back into their chaotic world? That's not bad luck. That's not coincidence. That is an emotional arsonist at work. These people are on the lookout, constantly scanning your joy, your peace, your wins, sniffing out happiness so they can poison it before you can even take a breath and enjoy it. Why? Because for them, your happiness is a threat. Your calm is an insult. If you're calm, if you're feeling strong, it means you might see them for what they really are. And that's the one thing they cannot have. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, surely they don't do this on purpose. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they're insecure and need love and understanding. Let me be absolutely straight with you. This isn't about a bad day. This isn't about looking for love. This is about a deep, fundamental need to create chaos. It's their favorite hobby. It's their game. They know exactly what buttons to press, when to press them, and just how hard. If poison can be injected in any moment you're shining, even a little, they will find a way to do it. And let's be clear, this need to create chaos, this addiction to your turmoil, it isn't just a bad habit. It's not something you're going to fix with patience, gentle words, or more understanding, this is a symptom of what's going on, or more accurately, what's not going on inside their head. There is something missing, something broken. They aren't reaching for connection, they are seeking power, and the fastest route is to torch your happiness. As you listen to this, take inventory. Are you always exhausted, always on edge, always wondering when the next fire is going to start? That's not normal. That's not what healthy relationships feel like. Malignant narcissists will have you living in crisis, never letting you plant your feet or gather your thoughts, because that's when you're at your most susceptible to their control. So look around. Are you constantly caught up in someone else's whirlwind? Are you building your life around putting out their fires? That's your warning sign. That's your signal that what you're facing isn't just regular drama, but a calculated campaign to keep you off balance, to feed their chaos addiction. Remember, if someone delights in wrecking your peace, if your pain is the fuel that keeps their engine running, you owe it to yourself to step back, reassess, and decide just how close to the flames you want to live. You need to know this isn't the result of what you did or didn't do. This is about the emotional void inside them, one where instead of love and empathy and peace, all you'll find is hunger for chaos. And if you're thinking you can change them, love them hard enough, reason with them into peace, trust me, you'll be waiting a long time. Because peace is their poison and your suffering is their oxygen. Well, hey, we're looking at something that'll send a chill down your spine. We're not just talking about someone who doesn't pick up on cues. We're not talking about somebody who's just a little insensitive or distracted. No, sir. We're talking about a black hole, an absolute airless void where empathy, remorse, and conscience are supposed to be. You know, I've said it before, narcissists aren't exactly champions of empathy, but there's still a flicker, a spark, however dim, that they see other people as human beings. But with a malignant narcissist, it's a different map entirely. With them, you're not even a person. They don't ignore your feelings, they don't dismiss them. They don't see them at all. Your emotions are nothing but data points. Your tears, information. Your panic, a readout on their control systems. They're running constant experiments and you're the lab rat. Let's break this down with something I hear all the time. How do they react when they see you in pain? A regular person, they see your face fall and their heart sinks with you, right? They feel a pang. But for a malignant narcissist, oh, let me tell you, their reaction isn't, oh no, I've hurt them. No, their wires are crossed. Instead, they feel curiosity, interest, maybe even a little excitement. They become the scientist in the white coat, watching you squirm. Interesting, that worked. Let's see how far I can push this. They're asking themselves, how can I use this reaction to my advantage? It's all about control, all about information. They're watching, collecting, recalibrating. Your suffering is just feedback in their laboratory of manipulation. Sometimes you can look into their eyes in those moments and it'll take your breath away, not because of what you see, but because of what you don't. That brings me to what a lot of survivors tell me, the eyes. You know what I'm talking about if you've been there. That cold, flat reptilian stare. There's a reason people call it the psychopath's gaze. You're desperate to see some glimmer of humanity, some anger, some guilt, even a flicker of sadness would do. But it's like staring into a shark, just black, bottomless, empty. Sometimes, right after the cruelest insult, you'll see it, that blank, dead look. Let me ask you this, have you ever been in the middle of an argument? Maybe you're crying, maybe your heart's pounding out of your chest, and you look at them, and it's like nobody's home. There's no connection, no remorse, not even irritation. Just a cold calculation, like you're a chess piece they're about to sacrifice. That's what I mean by soulless. There's a difference between not caring and you don't even exist as a person. Now, let's answer the question a lot of you have asked me. Why won't they ever apologize? Why won't they meet you halfway, show any sign of regret? Most folks, when they hurt somebody, even if they're stubborn, even if they're mad, they feel that little pull in their chest. They might grumble their way through a quick sorry, but it's there. But in the mind of a malignant narcissist, apologizing is something entirely different. It's not an act of love or repair, not even close. To them, apologizing is waving the white flag. It's a signal that you've won, that you've got something they want, that you have power they don't. In their world, everything is about dominance. To say, "I'm sorry," is to surrender, and they don't surrender, ever. Every single thing they do, no matter how outlandish, how cruel, or how toxic, is justified in their own mind. You had it coming. You provoked them. You're the problem. They twist the world to fit their narrative so tightly, they might actually start to believe it themselves. And listen to me, this is not a bug. This is the way their mind is programmed. If you're waiting on an apology, let me save you some time. Don't hold your breath. You'll wear yourself out thinking you're one honest conversation away from a breakthrough. You're not. In their world, everything revolves around them, and anything that threatens that even a hint of accountability is met with denial, projection, or counterattack. What do you do when you're dealing with someone like this? How do you make sense of a mind that can inflict pain and then feel nothing? The cold reality is that a mind without empathy is a mind without a conscience. No matter how much you played, how meticulously you lay out the facts, how many tears you shed, it doesn't penetrate. A mind without a conscience doesn't see you as a person at all. You're a game piece. You're an asset. You're an obstacle. Or worst of all, you're nothing, utterly invisible if you can't be used. So what do you take away from all this? First, recognize what you're dealing with. You can't negotiate your way into their heart. There's nothing there. You can't show them the light. They'll only use your compassion against you. Your best defense is knowledge, boundaries, and an ironclad refusal to take their emptiness personally. Trust me, folks, you're not crazy. That hollow, soulless feeling you get after interacting with them isn't your imagination. It's the echo of a conscience that's been sucked out of the room. Take care of yourselves and keep your eyes open for that cold, flat gaze. It's a warning sign that you're dealing with something and someone outside the normal rule book. And remember, what you see is not the whole story. The void goes much, much deeper. Maybe you've heard the phrase, life is not a game. For a malignant narcissist, life isn't just a game, it's a war zone, a ruthless chess match. And every single person around them is just a piece to be moved, sacrificed, or wiped from the board at their own convenience. I want you to really let that sink in. You might believe you're in a relationship, romantic, professional, whatever. Maybe you thought you were teammates or at least on equal footing. Not in their world. To them, this isn't about togetherness. It's about domination. Your love, your trust, your friendship, none of it means what you think it means. In their eyes, every interaction is a move in a lifelong chess game, and they intend to sit at the head of the table alone and victorious at the end of it all. You see, for a malignant narcissist, people do not have intrinsic value. I'm telling you, and trust me, I've seen this play out more times than I can count. They reduce everyone around them to three simple categories. First category, the tool. Maybe you're useful. Maybe you've got something they want. Money, status, connections, or even just your energy and emotional labor. If you're a tool, you get to stick around, but only as long as you keep providing what they need. The second you stop being useful, your value drops to zero. And they'll make no effort to hide the fact that you're replaceable because to them, you always were. Second, the obstacle. Maybe you stand in their way, challenge their control, or threaten their image. Obstacles aren't just to be avoided, they are to be eliminated. That's when you start to see some of the classic Machiavellian tactics, smear campaigns, manipulation, triangulation. Whatever it takes to clear the board, to get you out of the way, it's fair game for them. Your pain, your reputation, your livelihood, it's all just a cost of their personal victory. Third, and most chilling, the irrelevant. If you offer them nothing, if you cannot be used or are no threat, you might as well not exist. They simply don't see you. You're the gray blur in the background of their self-centered existence. You can sense it, too. It's like screaming into a void and getting nothing but your own echo back. That's not neglect, that's total erasure. Now, what goes on inside the mind of someone like this? Let me walk you through it. Imagine their thoughts aren't about connection, but about control. From the moment they walk into a room, they're sizing up the field, running calculations. You think you're building rapport, but they're analyzing your weaknesses, figuring out how you can be moved, what bait you'll bite if you're worth investing in or tearing down. Let's say they praise someone publicly. It's rarely about genuine appreciation. 9 times out of 10, it's to set someone else up for a fall, to provoke jealousy or division, to pit people against each other. Let me see if I can make this person attack that person for me. Let me spread a rumor, see what cracks appear. Let me pretend to be sick, who will drop everything for me. It's an exhausting, constant game of manipulation. Every word, every gesture, every sigh is a calculated move. And here's the kicker. If you start to notice the patterns, if you try to step outside of your assigned role, they adapt fast. They will shift their tactics, play the victim, flip the board if they have to. The rules change in real time, and you're always just a few moves behind. That's not an accident, it's a design. The entire system in their mind revolves around keeping you guessing and keeping them in control. Listen carefully to this part, because it's a trap many people fall into. Loyalty. You may think deep down that you're the exception, that your connection is special, that they confide in you, trust you, come to you in their weakest moments. Surely you think all those stories you hear can't be true about your experience. Well, maybe you're their person. Maybe you're the one they'll never throw away. Do not ever make the mistake of thinking a malignant narcissist is loyal to you. Loyalty requires an emotional bond, a sense that another's welfare matters to you, sometimes more than your own. They don't form bonds, they form deals, and every deal is temporary, contingent, and transactional. The alliance lasts only as long as it serves them. And the second, let me emphasize that the very second, you lose utility or a better tool, a more efficient pawn comes along, you will be discarded with breathtaking speed and brutality. They don't look back. They don't grieve your absence. You are replaced, just another forgotten piece off the board. And, sometimes you'll hear folks say, but they just seem so fearless, so cool under pressure, so cutting edge in their confidence and willingness to do what others won't. And let me tell you flat out, it's a facade. What you see as fearless is really emptiness, a desperate, hollow performance. This constant, cold calculation is not bravery. It's a frantic technique, an elaborate mask to cover the one thing they cannot bear to face their own truth. Every grandmaster who spends their life sacrificing others, burning bridges, and moving relentlessly toward total domination is really running from something. The game, the strategy, the chessboard, it's all a desperate defense. Don't let the sharp suits or sharp tongues fool you. It's not confidence. It's a barricade against terror. Terror that somebody, somewhere, might see them for who they really are beneath the tactics and mind games. Let me wrap it up. If you find yourself exhausted by the constant strategies, if you feel like a pawn sacrificed for someone else's throne, wake up. It's not you, it never was. You were just sitting on the wrong side of the board, playing a game you didn't even know you were in against someone for whom people are never partners, only pawns to be moved, sacrificed, and forgotten. If that's you, step away from the board for a while. You're not imagining the calculation. You're not overreacting to the coldness. You've just finally seen the game for what it is. And once you see it, you owe it to yourself to decide whether you're going to keep playing or finally walk away. Well, I'm talking about a terror, a paranoia, a gnawing sense of worthlessness that burns beneath all that posturing and cruelty. Forget the gold watches, the cocky smirk, the trophies. Under all that armor is a small, terrified child. And everything they do is an over-the-top performance to keep that secret locked up forever. Let's call it what it is, preemptive strike. Their philosophy is, I'll get them before they get me. The aggression you see, it's not confidence. It is a desperate attack against a world they are convinced is out to get them. That bombastic speech, the room filling swagger, the need to control every person and every outcome. It's all just a frantic defense against a mountain of internal fear and shame. Let me break it down for you. At the core of every malignant narcissist mindset is the belief that they are unworthy, unlovable, and one bad day away from being exposed as a fraud. So what do? They create a shell louder, meaner, bigger, better than everyone around them. And the second they even sense a challenge, even the slightest pushback, they go on the attack. Their aggression is a preemptive missile strike, because in their mind, if they don't take you out, you'll take them out. And folks, paranoia is the water they swim in. It's not simply that they have trust issues. It's that they see enemies everywhere. They believe every sideways look is an insult. Every neutral encounter is a hidden attack. They do this because they're projecting. They assume everyone else is as ruthless, deceitful, and malicious as they are. They can't imagine a world with genuine people because they themselves have never been genuine a day in their life. This isn't just a theory, it's how they genuinely experience the world. Now, here's a big one: criticism. If you criticize them, it's not just hurt feelings. Oh no. You are threatening their very existence. You are holding up a mirror to the fraudulence they've spent their entire life trying to hide. That rage you see isn't just anger, it is sheer animalistic terror. It's survival panic. A wounded animal in the corner will attack with everything it's got because it thinks it's fighting for its life. That's the level of intensity you're dealing with when you call a malignant narcissist to account. They spend so much time and energy constructing these cardboard castles, elaborate facades of grandiosity, control, and dominance, that any criticism, any question, feels like someone's coming at that castle with a torch. They cannot bear to look directly at who they really are, so they attack, deflect, and bulldoze anyone who gets close to the truth. And what sits underneath all that rage and all that frantic strategy? A profound, bottomless emptiness. We're not talking about temporary loneliness or a bad week. This is a void, a black hole where the self should be. Malignant narcissists are walking collections of masks. They stack on personas like armor, never satisfied, never at rest, because nothing ever fills them up. No amount of power, admiration, or pain inflicted on others actually gets to the root. It's all a frantic, desperate run from nothingness. That's why they can never stop manipulating, never stop seeking a new thrill, never hold on to joy without wrecking it. Their entire life is lived in pursuit, chasing the next fix, the next conquest, the next payoff, but nothing ever lasts. When you understand that, you can start to see the cruelty for what it is. The calculated wounds, the manipulative games, the obsessive need to be right or to win at all costs, they're all strategies to keep that emptiness at bay. The world is their battlefield. Every interaction is life or death, and every person is just another threat or tool to keep themselves from collapsing inward. And if you've experienced this, you know it leaves a mark. People who've lived in the shadow of someone like this often describe feeling erased, like their own sense of self was eaten alive in the process. But here's the most chilling twist: all that fear and emptiness doesn't just lead to desperate, defensive behavior, it supercharges their capacity for cruelty. When a malignant narcissist lashes out, when they isolate someone, ruin a reputation, or cut someone down, they feel a rush. Hurting others because of their own pain becomes a kind of dark relief, a way to feel powerful in a world that terrifies them. Not every one of them will admit it, but some even enjoy it. Take real pleasure in your pain, your fear, your confusion. That's where the circular engine of their sickness is truly exposed. You can see it in their eyes when you confront them or when you watch them celebrate another person's humiliation. The thrill isn't a byproduct, it's the point. These are not just toxic personalities, they are walking battlegrounds. You cannot fix the fear that drives them. You cannot fill the void at their center. And the longer you spend trying, the more likely you are to get caught in their paranoid defensive firestorm. Remember, a mind built on fear and emptiness will always lash out, always destroy, always build castles that cannot stand. And that's the terrifying reality to all that violence, all that manipulation, all that cruelty comes from a terror that cannot be soothed and a hole that can never, ever be filled. There's a line that separates a plain old narcissist, someone who wants admiration, who blows their own horn, maybe does some emotional damage along the way, from a malignant one. That line, it's sadism. This is the part nobody wants to believe, but you need to hear it. They actually enjoy cruelty. It's not just a means to an end. For the malignant narcissist, cruelty is a reward all on its own. Now, I know that's hard to accept. Most people cannot even imagine taking pleasure in someone else's suffering. But for a malignant narcissist, it's not about just winning. It's not about being right, being the star, getting the spotlight. No, it's that moment you're gasping for air, confused, shattered, broken down, questioning your reality. That's when their internal light switch flips on. When they're gaslighting you, it's when they're busy spinning lies and destroying your reputation, when your tears are flowing. Part of their brain is lighting up with a sick kind of pleasure. Your pain validates their power. Your suffering is their proof that they are strong. That high is as addictive as any drug. Let's talk about those telltale signs, the little things, the evidence that they're feeling that thrill right in front of your eyes. Have you ever seen it? That tiny, almost imperceptible smirk flashing across their face the moment they deliver a soul-crushing insult. That's not just arrogance. That's the mask slipping. That's you catching a blink of an eye glimpse of the pleasure they feel when they've made you doubt yourself, cry, or break down. Think back. If you've experienced this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not accidental, it's intentional. But that's just the beginning. Here's another sign. Maybe you're totally falling apart, feeling the hurricane of emotional chaos they've created, and you notice they're eerily calm. While you're spiraling, they're right there, cool, collected, almost detached, observing the destruction like a scientist watching an experiment run exactly as planned. They created the storm, and now they're standing right in the eye, savoring that position of power and serenity. In that moment, there's not a flicker of guilt, not a trace of remorse, just satisfaction. How can they do this? What needs to take place in the mind of someone capable of such behavior? Here's the truth: to be that cruel, you first have to dehumanize your target. In their mind, you are not a person with feelings, needs, rights, and dreams. You are an object, and you have utility. Tools don't have rights. Objects don't deserve compassion. And if you're just an object, they reason, then there are no limits to what you can do to it. That's why survivors of these relationships often say, I felt like I was invisible, like I didn't even exist anymore. Because to the malignant narcissist, you really don't. That's the practice of dehumanization, methodically stripping away everything that makes you human. It's not just one-off insults or slip-ups either. It's the pattern. They demean you quietly in private and humiliate you loudly in public. They chip away at your dignity with jokes, backhanded compliments, and constant negativity. If you start seeing yourself as less than human, questioning your worth, feeling shame for who you are, that's the proof the dehumanizing has worked. And the more you shrink, the bigger and more powerful they feel. Here's the other truth: this isn't about you being too sensitive. This isn't about you having done anything wrong. Malignant narcissists choose their methods carefully, calculating how to get the deepest cut, and they choose their targets with precision. The reward isn't the outcome of an argument or debate, it's the act of wounding you, of seeing the light go out behind your eyes. Pain is not a side effect, it is the goal. So what do you do with all this? Well, let me tell you, I know it sounds grim. When you realize you've been dealing with someone who not only doesn't care about your hurt, but actually delights in it, hopelessness can kick in like a freight train. But here's what you need to remember: the question is not, how do I change them? Because you can't. The real question is, how do I survive them? You can't treat this like a bad break-up or a rough friendship patch. This is psychological warfare, And your best strategy is to realize deep down the cruelty is their pleasure, not your fault. Protect yourself. Build boundaries so thick that their poison can't seep through. Don't try to heal them with your generosity or empathy. That's just another opportunity for them to twist the knife. And don't beat yourself up for missing the signs, those little smirks, the calm in the storm, the sudden shift from charm to abuse. That's the point. They want you off balance, confused, doubting yourself. The moment you see it clearly is the moment you can start to reclaim your power. I told you at the start, this would be a dark tour, and it is. But as grim as it sounds, the lesson here is not about fixing them. It's about waking up, seeing the sadistic thrill for what it is, and recognizing the only escape is putting your peace, your healing, and your humanity first. And that, my friends, is how you drag yourself out of their shadows and back into the light. Well, hey, if you're here, if you've stuck with me through this series, I want you to know this is where the conversation gets real clear, real raw, and real actionable. Maybe you've spent weeks, months, or even years tangled up with a malignant narcissist. Maybe nobody's believed your side. Maybe you've doubted yourself, thinking if you just loved harder, tried longer, showed more patience, things would change. I'm here to pull you out of that fog. Today, you get the escape plan. First things first, radical acceptance. Now, you listen to me and you listen close. Stop calling it a difficult relationship. Stop making excuses. You are not dealing with a wounded person who needs your sympathy or healing energy. You are dealing with a predator. Step back and call it what it is. This is not a stray, sad puppy you can rescue. This is a shark. This is a terrorist. You cannot reason with them. You cannot negotiate with them. You cannot heal evil. Your job, and your only job, is to get yourself out. Let go of the fantasy that you can ever make them see the light. You're not going to hug the shark until it turns into a dolphin. It's not happening. Don't run toward the danger. Run from it with a plan. Let's crush a dangerous myth right now for other narcissists. You might survive using the gray rock method. Blend in, make yourself boring, don't give them fuel. But for this kind, forget it. It doesn't work. The only strategy that keeps you safe from a malignant narcissist is no contact. And I mean absolute scorched earth, burn the bridge after crossing it. Shut every single door. Block their number. Block their email. Block their social media. Change your locks. Change your routines. Get a restraining order if you need to. I don't care if it feels extreme. It's about saving your life. Every opening, every little crack you leave in the wall is an invitation for another round of abuse. This is about survival, not social niceties. This isn't about rudeness or politeness. It's about living to tell your story. But here's what you need to know, and I mean know in your bones. When you finally cut them off, they will not go quietly. Malignant narcissists don't just slink away, they escalate. We call that the extinction burst. When their usual tactics stop working, they panic and come back harder. Smear campaigns, false accusations, stalking, financial sabotage, you name it. They will launch a war. That's why you prepare before you leave. So here's how you build your fortress. You don't sprint out the door empty-handed. You don't announce your escape and hope for the best. You make sure you're protected from every angle, like you're leaving the strongest fortress behind enemy lines. Lawyer up. Don't grab your cousin's divorce lawyer or your buddy's old college friend. Find the meanest, smartest lawyer in town who knows high conflict personalities, someone who's not intimidated by courtroom theatrics or psychological manipulation. You need a pit bull on your side, therapist up. This isn't something you white knuckle through alone. You need a therapist who specializes in trauma, in narcissistic abuse. You need someone who knows these dynamics inside and out, not some think positive coach. You will need help untangling their lies, rebuilding your self-worth, and staying strong when the pressure comes. Warn your army. You need your people to know exactly what's about to happen. Pick your inner circle and tell them the truth. Tell them a smear campaign is coming. Tell them lies, twisted stories, or outright character assassination may be headed their way. You're not trash talking, you're making sure your support system sees through the fog. Trust me, having a prepared army is the difference between standing tall and crumbling when the attacks begin. Document everything, every threat, every lie, every text, every email. Save it all. Buy a notebook or open a secure digital folder and start your mountain of evidence today. Don't rely on memory, screenshots, recordings, even seemingly minor incidents. Write it all down. Courts believe paper. Documentation turns your story from said, she said, into hard fact. Now, I know some of you are grieving the hope that things could have been different. You might be asking, how will I ever feel safe, sane, or whole again? Here's the truth: there is no winning against a malignant narcissist. Don't make the mistake of measuring your success by whether you changed them, exposed them, or got even. The victory is not in beating them at their own game, it's in escaping the game entirely. The victory is in reclaiming your sanity, your safety, and your soul. You need to hear this loud and clear. Whatever they have done, whatever poison they've spread, it is not about your worth. A predator's behavior is about their sickness, not your value. Do not take it personally, because it was never personal. It was always about control, about filling the void inside them by emptying you. You cannot carry the responsibility for their brokenness. You are responsible only for saving yourself and your children if you have them. Let some illusions go. The happy ending is not some Hollywood scene where they burst into tears and say, "I finally see what I've done, you were right all along." That is a fantasy, and the sooner you bury it, the sooner you get your life back. The happy ending is the rest of your life lived in peace, far, far away from the storm. You may have scars, you may have battle stories, but you will have freedom, safety, and your mind back. So here's your final call to action. Go build your fortress, make the calls, close the doors, rally your army. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. You didn't pick this fight, but you can choose how it ends for you. I appreciate you spending this time with me. Take care of yourself, hold your boundaries, and remember you are worth every ounce of the freedom you fight for. Be safe out there. We'll talk more.